Today I'm going to try to go through an exercise of how I like to think about some words and how to get to, for lack of a better word, the spirit of it. So, for example, today we're going to talk about access, excess, and assess, right? So to define our terms, right? Excess, for starters, is the surplus, right? The bits on the outside of something, right? To assess is to gain information of, right? Or to figure out. The definition I would use for uh, access, right, with a C, is to have to have an ability to interact with, right? So like this, the overlap, the point where they connect, the spirit, right, that connects the three of them, is like you access the excess and you access the access, and so A to B and B to C and C to A and A to and all of the above, right? And the spirit that connects the three, I feel like, is the thing that which is retrievable. Like I would say you can't access or assess anything that isn't in excess, right? There's no way that you could do not that, right? It must be in excess for you to be able to access it or assess it. Like, for example, information, right? Which is most relevant for assessments. If something like information, there's no like quantity, right? No set quantity. There's no competition for it because it's infinitely reproducible. There's an excess of it. Like air. Air is an excess, so everyone can access it and assess it. I would say things like food, people might misunderstand as like if we were to break out of it as like the human construct of like food and how much surplus and quantity there is. There's someone might be able to like steal it because their food is accessible and they assess that they can steal it, but it might not be defined as excess to the person who like is holding on to it. But it's excess to the person that's taking it because it's accessible in this sense, right? But the thing is, the point that I'm trying to make about how even that is excess in a sense, in this like core spirit, like core definition behind the the concept of that being excess is arbitrary, right? Like for example, like toilet paper nowadays, right? If there is a misunderstanding of what is excess, right? There's people that might have 100 boxes of toilet paper and they say, I don't have an excess of toilet paper. I need to get more. And they hoard. And in the same way, the opposite is problematic, like a thief, whereas like they don't realize what is actually excess for food for this person, right? That they're taking from. They are the amoral side where they just like say everything is up for grabs. There's no such thing as excess. And of course, the word excess is a human construct, but this excess and access to it and the accessibility to it, I think we should start seeing about the resources that we share in the world and how they actually exist and how they're accessible and accessible and how much of it is excess. I think that comes from understanding the spirit of how those words connect. So hopefully you can try to do that with other fun things. Everyone knows the fun one that I like, the go-to one of realize, realize, realize. Like, sure, it's fun. So try to do that with other puns.